what up, guys? It's your boy, Joe Brooks, actor, author, entrepreneur, producer, and talent manager, and you're listening to the one and only Still Toking with.
Hey everyone, this is Rich Ramon, and you're listening to Still Toking with. Yeah.
Hi, this is Maurice LaMarche, and that name will mean nothing to you, nor the sound of my voice, unless I become the brain from TV's Pinky in the Brain, or Calculon, the star of all my circuits from Futurama. Oh Lord, there's a bottle, so from Futurama. And you are listening to this, and you are listening to Still Toking with on the Dorkening Podcast Network.
So come on, hey. Step it off, break it down and lose it. Come on, hey. Follow us to the new revolution. Come on, hey. Step it off, break it down and lose it. Come on, hey. Follow us to the new revolution.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to another killer episode of Still Toking with. Yeah, I'm me. You know who I am. I'm super excited. You made the background for me, bro. All right.
Glow sticks.
Listen, I am super excited about tonight's episode. Our guest tonight basically could be on any month because she's been involved with just about everything. And I say any month because every month has its own little backgrounds, you know. She could, I mean, I'm not even gonna, we just got way too much to talk about tonight. So I'm just gonna leave it right there. And as always, the man that brings the flash to flashy, Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
Good evening, everybody.
And how are you this evening, sir?
Sparkly, and I can't wait to talk to our guest.
Right. Should we bring in the other guy?
Yeah, bring in some handsomeness. We need it.
Oh, well, we should have got another handsome guy then.
Bring Jeffrey. We want Jeff.
Jeffrey.
Hey. How's everybody doing out there? It's Wednesday, right? I'm starting to lose track of the days.
Yeah, it is Wednesday. It is Wednesday.
It was supposed to get some of that white stuff. I know Jeffrey likes white stuff.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, man. I don't know what the new totals are, but
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that my wife shoveled the driveway the last time and left balls all over the place. So now they're going to be frozen. So I'm going to break my wrist when I have to go shovel. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, that's because we weren't around.
You know?
You couldn't shovel.
No.
You
I'll give a quick shout out to Expo Canna. What a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Right.
They did a fantastic job. It was busy, as they say. So let's get on with the show. I don't even know how to introduce this fabulous woman. You know, I've never even seen one of those shows. Do you realize that? I'm 62 years old, and
she's shaking her head at you.
I know she is. The problem is let's bring her in. Jennifer Jones, welcome to the show.
Hi guys, nice to be here.
And I want to elaborate a little bit on that because I don't go to the cities. I don't like cities. Period.
That's true.
Well, they did have touring companies for a little bit, so maybe you were able to get out in the early 90s maybe to see a show.
No, the only thing I ever seen like that was when I was a kid and watching the girls jump off the docks.
The synchronized swimmers. Is that it?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
So for our viewers this evening and everybody that's going to be listening to this later on, Jennifer Jones has accomplished more than any of us could even think about. Let's just put it that way. You know, she's an author. She's a doll maker. She has kicked cancer's ass. But that's not even the biggest thing. The biggest thing is Jeffrey Marks. Go ahead. I see you itching.
No, I'm just agreeing with you
I
that,
see you, Richard.
well, my favorite part of all of this, because of my love of and
Yep.
having been in the audience for dozens and dozens of these, is our beautiful guest broke the bigotry barrier in one of the greatest dancing troupes in the world, the Radio City Rockettes, and brought the Rockettes into the 21st century, but she did it in the 20th century. And it's an amazing, amazing story.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
So happy Black History Month, Jennifer, of which you are a huge part.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. And it was an amazing feat. And I'm so honored to have opened the doors for the Black women who I danced alongside with, who are on the line today, and the ladies yet to come. And also for the Black women that auditioned numerous times before me. I stand on their shoulders, because without them pushing that cog forward, I would not be here today.
So basically, the Rockettes start in St. Louis, the original Rockettes, and this cracker makes it a rule that there are no, in his words, to be no colored dancers ever. And it took, what, a half a century to disintegrate that cracker's ideas into something realistic and positive and wonderful? Is that about right?
62 years, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about 62, 63 years. But to put everything into perspective, also in 1925, no Black person was allowed to dance on the stage with a white person. It was just a rule in the 20s and the 30s. And along the way, we got the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater of Harlem, and we got all of these wonderful Black theater companies. And for years, when Radio City became the home of the Rockettes in 1932, in the 60s and 70s, you would kind of think, against the backdrop of New York City and how progressive it is, or everyone thought it was at the time, there would have been a Black dancer. But like you said, Russell Market, the founder, had this notion that having one or two Black women on the line would distort the uniformity of the Rockettes. His perception was to have 36 women dance on the stage at Radio City Music Hall and have it look like one dancer. And having a woman of color, a Black woman on there, would distract, and you would lose the precision, which is the hallmark of the Rockettes. And it took the NAACP years and years of knocking on the door saying, you're not an equal opportunity employer, over and over and over again. And I think my belief is that Radio City kind of got, they got scared, they got tired of the knocking, and they knew it was time to hire a Black dancer. And when I was hired in 1987, I went to the audition, and the audition read, ethnic minority encouraged to attend. And I thought, I wasn't going to go to the audition because I had no idea who they were at the time. But I think at that time, because they put that language in the audition notice, they were looking for a Black dancer just because of all the pressure.
What I find hysterical is when the NAACP challenged them, this is way before you, back in the 60s, and their answers were, well, we put ads in all of the African American Latino newspapers. Yeah, they put ads in papers for people of color, but the ad said people of color can't apply. And somehow that made it all okay. Jennifer, your courage, I mean, just should be applauded and snapped at. And
Thank you.
Nothing in show business is easy. Believe me, I know that.
Right.
But especially this kind of thing, as if every woman up there was the same white skin color. No two people are the same color. It's just ridiculous.
Absolutely. And if one of the ladies were suntanned, if it were in the summer, they would go around with pancake makeup and put it on their legs, because if they were too dark, Russell would pull them from the show. They would not be allowed to perform. So there are stories that are floating around where they would put pancake makeup on their legs and do all sorts of things just to, make the line uniform.
Can't we just call this guy Cracker and leave his name out of it?
Well, yes, but
Okay.
however, this has been 100th year, and this is the 100th year that the Rockettes have been around. And I tend to think that if he saw what his vision was, he would never have thought what it is today. And I would hope to think that he would be happy for the diversity that the line has, even though I think they have more to do and a long ways to go. I still think that he would never have thought that 100 years later, the Rockettes are what they are.
That's a lovely reflection of your heart.
Yeah. Did you get flack at the beginning? I mean, did people give you a hard time?
Yeah.
When you first, joined the Rockettes? I would imagine.
Yes. Well, whenever there's a change, there's resistance. Of course, there were some people who were happy that I was on the line and that it was time for a change. But, people get comfortable and they don't want change. And yes, they let me know that I was not welcome. And it's not so much about how they said it, it's more like what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, the PR person who was working all the PR, and initially when I was hired as the first Black Rockette, they prepped me for the tour that I was going to do in New York City. And one of the things that they said was Violet Holmes, there was a quote in the New York Times, I believe in 1982 or 93, and she had Russell's viewpoint about one or two Black women on the line would certainly distract. And when I met with her, the PR people said that she was misquoted. And I really didn't know what she said, and I was very young, very naive, very green in the business. This was my first big job. And I thought, I did not know the history of the Rockettes at all. And I was like, oh, okay, that happens. People get misquoted. So I went on all the shows and they said, well, Violet Holmes said, a Black woman would distract. How do you feel about that? And I would just say, she was misquoted. End of story. And that's what they wanted. That's what they got. It took me, my 15 years of being on the line to learn the Rockette history and what that was all about. So it was kind of like a learning experience. But now that I have my voice, especially what that PR person said to me in San Diego, she took me to her hotel room. This was even before I performed for the Super Bowl halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
She took me to the hotel room. She sat me down and she said, you're old news. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about your story. That's it. You're done. And then I walked out of the room feeling like, oh, well, she's in media. She's in PR. She knows, what the feel is for what people are looking for. And I thought, nobody cared. I just thought I was lucky to be there. Like she said, maybe I wasn't talented enough, but I was just filling a quota. And words carry so much weight. I carried those words, her phrases around in my life for so long. And it trickled into relationships that I've never should have been in, situations that I never would have been in, because I just lowered the bar because I thought nobody cared and I was old news. So
they didn't try and
yes.
put pancakes on you, did they?
Excuse me?
They didn't try and put pancakes on you, did they?
No, they did not. No pancake makeup. No pancake makeup. But however, they did not give me my skin tone tights. So it was kind of like my legs blended in with theirs. So I didn't have my natural skin tone. Nowadays, they're more conscious of that, and all the women on the line that are different skin tones, they're matched perfectly.
I mean, in all honesty, I don't really think that you're there to look at the color of anybody's skin. You're there to watch greatness,
the performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's greatness, because I mean, to be part of the Rockettes, you have to be great.
Part of the baloney about it was this is all about precision. and that anything that didn't blend somehow interfere with precision. Jennifer, I probably saw you work 10 times, 12 times on the line through the years when I lived in New York, because I went to Radio City often because it was such a spectacular show.
Yeah.
So I was aware of you, meaning you go up, you look up on this enormous stage and go, wow, the only thing that your color did was make me realize how wonderful you were, that you actually were at least as good as everybody else. I don't want to insult anyone and say you were better, but no one up there was any better than you. And it added to the enjoyment for me.
Yeah, she deserved to be there.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
And as far as that PR person's remarks to you, honey, you will never be old news. Ever.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that PR person, I'll bet that PR person is old news now.
Right?
Yes, I have no idea where she is, and I don't even care right now.
She's under the stage.
Wherever she is, she should be well, and she should stay there.
Yes.
Far away.
Yes.
So you mentioned the Super Bowl, one of the very first things you do. We just had Super Bowl weekend. What was, I hate questions like this. What was that like? How frightening was it for you to perform in a stadium like that?
It was incredibly exciting, nerve-wracking, a lifetime experience-changing thing for me all at once. Like I said, I'd never performed. This was my first job. I had to learn the Rockette language. I had to learn the Rockette precision. I had to learn how to, just do everything perfectly with the girl next to me. And it was a lot of work. And when I wasn't in the rehearsal hall learning all of that, I was at home in my kitchen, in my living room, and that became my rehearsal space. And then I went back the next day and I did it all over again. So once I got onto the field, after they called 15 minutes to show, 10 minutes to show, 5 minutes to show, and then with all the timeouts and the flags and my nerves were just like on a 10, can we do this already? So once we got out on the field and once the music started and once I got out on the performance stage, I felt at one with the music. It felt like I was supposed to be there. And I think there are certain times in our lives where we are put in a place and we know we are supposed to be there. And I had chills all over my body. I felt at one in the kick line. And then I couldn't wait to do my dance with Chubby Checker. The Rockettes did another dance with Chubby Checker. And I couldn't wait to get back out on the field. And it was just, I was placed there. And I think that was just God putting me there, and that's where I was supposed to be. And I had a wonderful time, no matter what the PR person said.
I don't know if everyone watching is aware, but the very first mainstream artists who performed at the Super Bowl were Ella Fitzgerald and Carol Channing, both of whom, in case you don't know, were African American.
Yes, I did read that. And what I read was, I think they weren't televised, but I think they were part of the performers before Chubby Checker.
This is way back in 1972. This is or 71. Yeah. This is long before you were a little girl, if you were even born yet. So so Super Bowl halftime show is relevant to Black history because right from the beginning, African Americans were a part of it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes. And I want to just add that Doug Williams was the first Black quarterback to win a Super Bowl in Super Bowl 22 halftime, the Super Bowl 22. So it was like a double historic day, I think.
Well, there were a lot of young people have you to thank, because I don't care happenstance or what put you there, but you kicked down a barrier. And I think, I'm not African American. I know you were very much you thought, but no, I'm not. the palest human being on the planet. But to people who care whether you're white or not, I'm Jewish and gay, and to them, I'm not white. So it's not the same, but on some levels, I've had to deal with it, and I get it.
Well, that's kind of why you fit on this show, because we don't look at that.
Yeah.
That does not exist in my mind. I was not raised that way.
These two very masculine guys. These two very masculine guys have made me part of their family, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful family.
I mean, I literally was brought up. Everybody's created the same.
Yeah.
You're either a good person or you're not. Your skin color does not matter. So, let it be there.
The content of the character. And, Jeff, that my girlfriend is Jewish and she's white, and she, has to, go through what you're going through also. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not the same, but it's similar enough to understand the struggles.
Yes.
That's why I can call this guy a cracker from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I want to say, I mean, you're still very young. You look beautiful, but you are already in the history books, and that's fantastic.
Thank you.
How long were you a Rockette for, Jennifer?
I was a Rockette for 15 years.
That's 3 lifetimes for a good dancer.
Yep.
Especially on the Rockettes, because the precision required. I was a dancer when I was a teenager and a young adult on Broadway and off Broadway. And if the extensions, for those of you that's really kicking your leg all the way up, to do that for 15, 16 years, that's amazing.
Yes, thank you. It was a blessing, because at the time when I was a Rockette, there was a roster of women, 36 women on a roster, which meant we had a full-time job. So whenever there was a performance, we would get called in. We had healthcare. We could take a maternity leave. We could take a leave of absence and come back to being a Rockette. So there was that, ability. I had 2 kids on the line, and I was able to go back and dance. And then I was going through a horrible divorce. And then I was able to lean back and go back onto the line and dance and provide for my children. However, Jim Dolan, the owner of Madison Square Garden, he also owns Radio City and the Beacon and the Rockettes. When he took ownership, he broke the roster. And that was the time when I was transitioning over to Broadway. So that meant that these ladies no longer had maternity leave, or could take a leave of absence and go back and have a job, or, go through a divorce and have something to lean on to make money. So a lot of the ladies have to either re-audition every year or get asked back to be back on the Christmas show. So that was one of the reasons why I had such flexibility to stay on the line for so long.
Is it always 36? Is it always 36 women on the line?
It's 36 because that's how many fit across the stage at Radio City. However, if they do performances like at the Rainbow Room or, little, jobs somewhere else, they can break it down to 18 ladies or 16. But at Radio City, it's always 36.
Okay, because I know the Super Bowl, they had a theme of 88. There was 88 pianos, 88 legs, as they called it. So that means there was 44 women performing.
Right, because the year was 1988.
Right,
That's
why.
Right. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
all right. So I'm assuming that there's, I don't want to use the term backups, alternates. There must be alternates in case somebody gets sick or can't perform, injured, or anything like that.
Yes. So when they hire the ladies to do a show, they usually hire maybe 4 to 6 other extra ladies they call them swings. So if somebody gets injured or if someone gets sick, they can go in and cover that role. So being a swing is very difficult, especially in the Rockette world, because you have to know where to break in the line, where you go in 3 lines, which way you're looking, if each line is looking a different way, all the arm levels. So being a swing is very, very difficult.
They should have called them kicks, not swings.
And Jeff, I'm sorry I talked over you 3 different times. I
Oh
apologize.
no, that's okay.
All I wanted to do was ask a geek question. All right.
Go, go geek, go.
Geek question. For those of you who have never been to Radio City, besides the wonderful Rockettes and whatever show they're showing, Radio City has, no jokes, boys, the biggest organ in the world. And there's an amazing organ performance every time you go there. I know what it felt like to sit in the orchestra or in the nosebleed seats to listen. What was it like to hear that music either on, I don't think he ever played while you ladies were dancing, but to be backstage and so close to it, was it this incredible music rush for you?
It was amazing. And actually they have 2. For years, they only used 1, but they restored the one on the other side. So now they have 2 beautiful organs. And it was our 15-minute call. And you would hear it reverberate, up and down through the dressing room. So you kind of knew where you were and how much time you had. And it was just like a home cooked meal, you were just there, and it was always like warming and reassuring, and it was just so beautiful.
Yeah,
assuming
thank
it
you.
was a pipe organ. Is that what you're talking about? A pipe organ, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a magnificent thing. I mean, I've traveled the world. I've never seen anything else like it or heard anything else like it.
It's simply amazing. So
forgive the geekness of the question. I just had to know. Broadway, how did you segue? That's my line now. How did you segue?
Well, I always wanted to be a Broadway performer. My parents growing up were big Broadway people. They would go see Pippin with Ben Vereen, Melba Moore, Jesus Christ Superstar, Hairspray. They went to see Calcutta, Sure. They went to see everything. So when The Wiz came to Broadway, and it was very kid friendly, they took me and my sister, and I loved dancing, and seeing The Wiz on Broadway is where I fell in love with the stage. Walking into that theater, having the contour down and hearing the orchestra warm up, and then the curtain rise, and I was transported into Oz with Stephanie Mills and Hinton Battle and Mabel King. Yeah. Oh, no, powerhouses,
legends.
Oh my goodness! And then waiting backstage for their autograph. I knew at that moment I wanted to be on a stage and walk out of the backstage door. That's all I knew at 9 years old. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what capacity, but that's what I needed to do with my life. And I didn't go to the Rockettes audition, and wasn't going to go to the Rockettes audition because my parents never told me who the Rockettes were. I had no idea who they were. But when this Broadway show came out and I was called in for an audition and then I got it, that was like my dream moment of a 9-year-old girl being reflected, of seeing that Wiz on Broadway, and my heart again was full. And like I said, I was placed there, and every cell in my body knew I was supposed to be there. It was an amazing experience.
And the first show you did was one of my favorites, 42nd Street.
Yes.
I was just going to bring that up.
You know that I was a bartender at the original 42nd Street?
Were you really?
Yeah, when I was a struggling young actor, I was between off-Broadway shows. It was a job. It made me money. And I got to know David Merrick. And Leroy Reams became a friend for the rest of my life. And Carol Cook and Tammy Grimes. It was a wonderful experience for a young actor. So I also, and off camera, we'll talk about my connection to the Wiz sometime too. But this is about you. What did you do? Were you in the chorus of 42nd, or did you have lines?
I was in the chorus of 42nd Street. And what I loved about it is that it was so different from the Rockettes. We didn't have to be so precise in all of our movements. We could have our own personalities and our own way of doing things. We had our own characters and the own way we would act or however we wanted, but we all did the same choreography. So it was really nice to learn to how to have that freedom on stage, and learning the show from the ground up with the whole team was something else that was very new to me, because once I was in the Rockettes, I had to learn their repertoire, where a lot of the ladies already knew the dances, and I felt like I was always kind of like catching up. So this was really a nice experience for me, and it was something that I always wanted to do, 8 shows a week. And I did it from the beginning to the end of the run. And I just feel so blessed that I had that time to do it.
Did you guys recreate the Gower Champion choreography, or was new choreography brought in?
No, it was the same choreography with Randy Skinner.
Of course.
Yes. So it was the same choreography, and it's so memorable and dear to my heart.
I could see you playing Anytime Annie.
Oh, I would love that. We need to bring it back to 42nd Street.
Hey, the original ended up marrying David Merrick. It's a good role. It's lucky.
Wow. All right. So I want to know what inspired you to start making dolls.
So I wrote my children's book. And it was in the process of being printed, and I had some time, and I was just thinking, I was like, I really like to have a doll to go with this book, some kind of physical reminder for a kid. If they can dream it, they can be it, they can do anything they want, something inspirational. So I called Mattel. I sent an email to Mattel and Hasbro. Yeah, you want to do a doll? I didn't hear anything back, of course. So I decided to do it myself. So I connected with a woman who has a doll line, and she's South African, and she decided to help me. And she taught me how to design. She helped me put my vision into production. I told her what I wanted. We went over what I wanted the doll to look like, how her hair was done, her makeup, what I wanted her to wear. And we kind of, got her ready. Then we designed the box, and what did I want the box to say? And there's all inspirational wording around the box. And she's put on a stage, and there's all lights that look like they're coming down on her when the people, whoever buys her, it looks like she's on a stage. And it was just something that I wanted to do. And there have been some sales, so I'm happy about that. But and the children seem happy with it. But I just wanted something to pair it with, my book with. And I just wanted it to do it. And if I didn't do it, I would have regretted it. And I don't like to live life with regrets.
Right.
So I just did it.
So real quick, you talked about your children's book, which was titled
On the Line, my story of becoming the first African American Rockett.
See, I could have said it. It just wouldn't have had the same pizzazz. Just for everybody watching or listening tonight, if you are interested in anything that Jennifer's talking about, make sure you check the show notes up above or down below. All her information is in there. Links to her book, links to her websites. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
you're going to come out with a bobblehead?
I was thinking about it. I probably should.
I'm just curious.
Maybe I will.
Wouldn't it be bobble legs?
Oh, even better. I like the way you guys think.
Yeah.
See?
I can see that.
I mean, the head could turn, but it was the legs that did all
the legs.
An animatronic Jennifer
for
sale. Yes, there you go.
Right.
Okay, we've talked a lot about your wonderful talent and your great beauty and the barriers you've So for the most part, this is happy talk, even though the reasons for some of it wasn't so happy.
Right.
But there are other parts to your life that have not been quite so happy. Would you like to share that with the nice folks out there who are watching and listening, that you had some darkness that you had to deal with?
Absolutely. So I just turned 50 a few years back. I won't say how long ago, but at 50 years old, I was experiencing some stomach issues, some bloating and things like that. And I knew I had to go, for a colonoscopy because that's when they have them. That's when they're deemed to have them. They have since been lowered to the age of 45, but at the age of 50, I was diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer. And that was something that I never thought I would say ever. I was vegetarian at the time for over 25 years. I exercised every day. I knew my body inside and out from being a professional dancer. And it really took me down for a while. I was when I was diagnosed, I didn't tell my friends or family for at least a month because I was ashamed and I was embarrassed. I was considered the healthy one in my family. And when I did tell them, of course, I only told a certain select friends, but I did tell my close-knit family. And of course, they were behind me 100%. And I decided to get treated at Memorial Sloan Kettering. And I want to say that people who are battling this illness, that you have to be 100% comfortable with your medical team and you have to advocate for yourself. Before I went to Sloan, I was treated by another doctor and I wasn't comfortable. I thought I was just another paycheck to him. I did not think he took my illness to heart. I don't think I would be where I am today if I had stayed with him. Once I got to Memorial Sloan Kettering, even before my treatment started, my healing already began. That's how comfortable you have to be with your doctors. So I did 8 rounds of chemotherapy and I did surgery after that, and they were able to get everything, and I was deemed cancer-free in 2019.
Yeah.
Thank you. But even just doing the chemotherapy, and even though I was vegetarian throughout my entire process, I did have to change some things. I added more juicing to my diet where I did not have that before, and wheatgrass shots. And actually just doing a mind shift. I had to cut people who were toxic to me, and I let them linger in my life for no apparent reason. I had to really evaluate all of my relationships and where I wanted my life to go. And that is also part of my healing process. And I think that's a big thing that people who are battling illnesses today might have to do.
I couldn't agree with you more. Because mind and body are completely attached to one another. They're not two separate things.
Absolutely.
We're one organism. And if we're, disease is dis-ease, literally. And how wise of you to figure that out. Do you think, off the top of my head, do you think just God sprinkled you with a little extra wisdom that allowed you to grab opportunities and deal with the hard stuff? Maybe.
I absolutely do. One reason why I think this is because I wanted to write my memoir when I was back on 42nd Street. I thought all I had to write about was the history of becoming the first African American Rockett. I can't even tell you how many times I picked up the pen and paper and I started writing and it would just fall apart. And, a year later, I'd pick it up again. And it wasn't until after my battle with cancer did I realize it wasn't the time. I had more to share. I had more to tell. I had more to give back. I had more to let people know about. So, and that's when everything started falling in place. And that's why everything is happening now. And I think exactly what you said, God did sprinkle me with a little bit more of information and wisdom, just so I had this platform and could give back and let people know and help people through difficult times.
Wonderful. Wonderful for you to be courageous enough to share that with perfect strangers because it might help them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
Thank you.
cancer affects just about every family that there is out there in one form or another. I mean, I lost my father to cancer. Jeff lost his dad, and other family members too. I'm just saying, really close. So yeah, to be able to share a story like that, even though we were here for happy times, is heartfelt. So
That's what makes life real.
Will you be doing any book signings or events where people can come and get your book autographed?
Absolutely. They can go to my website. I have events coming up in New Jersey. I'm going to St. Louis towards the end of the month. And things are coming up all of the time. I have 2 New Jersey events this month. I have a New York event in March. And then hopefully, things will pile up more, but I would love to have people come out, and I would love to talk with them and sign a book.
We need to get you out to the West Coast in LA at the Grove.
Yes.
At the Grove.
Yes.
And then out here in Palm Springs at Just Fabulous.
No, I was going to throw it out the other way and say, we know a lot of promoters that do a lot of styles of events, and most of them watch our show. Book this amazing woman as an author.
Thank you. Thank you.
And bring her closer to Boston. Bring her closer to Boston.
Yes.
And then we can be there and I can get the book signed.
And if you come to the West Coast, the same thing. I'll be there with you. I'll be there for you. Hell, I'll introduce you.
I would love that. Anywhere. I love Boston. I love LA. I would love it. Yes. Thank you.
If you were going to meet a young African American, male or female, it really doesn't matter, in show business or in life, who you think is struggling, do you have some kind of good all-purpose advice for a young person who has some ambition but seems to be hitting a wall and can't get anywhere?
That's a good question.
I try.
And yeah, I think we all hit walls and we all kind of wonder, are we on the right track? I know I questioned my life a million times if I was on the right track. And I think I would just tell that young child to listen and go within and go with what's right in their heart. And if something goes their way, that's good. And if it doesn't, that's God's protection. And sometimes when you think of something that you want, sometimes God has a bigger plan. There's something the universe has that might be more, but just don't stop. Don't get comfortable. Don't get complacent where you are. You have to keep moving, even if it's just a baby step each day. Just keep moving forward. Just don't stop. Keep going.
I believe you got to get out of your own head.
Yes.
You must get out of your own head. That'll kill you.
For sure.
I just realized this is the cleanest show we have ever done with me involved because of you, Jennifer. You are bringing us to be our best selves and to be gentlemen, because we all know how, but sometimes on this show we're not. But for you, absolutely.
Well, like we've said over 6 seasons, it's not about us, it's about the guest. So
I'm doing pretty good. I would have dropped an F-bomb by now. A long time ago.
You know what? I'm gonna give you a round of applause, because yes, you have been perfect this evening. This was almost like when we did the Santa Claus show, where it was for children, and we both had to be like,
yes.
Jennifer,
know your audience.
Your personal life these days, you mentioned having 2 kids. Are you close to them?
Yes, so I have 2 beautiful children, adult children. My son is 27 and my daughter is 25. They're grown, they have full lives, and I couldn't be happier that they have their health and they're flourishing. And I'm remarried now. So I remarried in 2021 to a retired chef. And we are just living our best life. And he travels with me when I go on tours, and we're just having fun.
Even better. Get her to Boston. I can have dinner and a book.
Yes.
What do your kids do?
So my son is the manager of 2 cheese shops in Summit, New Jersey, and in Madison, New Jersey. And my daughter works in human resources at Revlon in New York.
That's a big
nice.
Well, they're both big deals.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I was just
you
curious.
are a good mom.
Oh, if you read my memoir, there were times, in their upbringing where I just didn't know if I was doing the right thing. I was going through my divorce at the time. So, I had a lot of doubt going on, but they're doing well. So I hope that I was a good mother.
Yeah. Been there. I'm not a mother, but been there.
You're a mother, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, nobody asked you. And I have the power to mute your mic.
I was a stepdad and a grandfather, and man, I'm going to be a great grandfather. And you try your best, and then you have to let go and just watch it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you step back and you
exactly.
go, oh, success.
Yes.
Oh, not so much success.
Yes. And I still have my mom close by to me. She's a couple minutes away.
Wonderful.
Yes. My dad, he lives in St. Croix. So whenever I get the chance, that's where he's retired. So I like to go to travel and see him. And I have 2 sisters, one that's 15 minutes away from me and another one that lives in Philadelphia.
Wow.
So
close, but excellent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you think in the big picture is like you could say things worked out really well for me?
Yeah, someone just recently asked me if I could change anything in my life, would I? And my answer would be no, I wouldn't change anything. Even though there were hardships and struggles and challenges, there were also so many joyful memories and so many accomplishments that I've done. So, and I think if I veered off the path or if I had the chance to change anything, I wouldn't be living my life now, and I wouldn't be able to, have these in-depth conversations and give back the way that I do. So, I think it's a life that well lived, and hopefully, more to give back, more living to do.
Which leads me to what's next.
So after my book comes out, my memoir and everything finally comes out, I do have in my heart that I want to do another children's book, and I would love to do another young adults or a middle-aged book for kids in 7th or 8th grade or 4th and 5th grade. So those are some of the thoughts that I have, and we all know that thoughts become things. You have to start with an intention, and that's where after everything calms down is where I'm going to be devoting my energy.
That sounds like an incredible, because they say that creative energy left unused turns to depression. So it's always good to have another project waiting so that your obvious gifted creativeness has a way of coming out and, as it turns out, touching the world.
Right. And I do have a secret passion that I would. It's been on my bucket list for years, at least 20 years. I would love to be on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, talk to me later.
Okay. It's a secret passion of mine just to be on that show.
I have been on that stage, not as a performer. I can't dance anymore, but yeah, we'll talk.
Yes.
Oh, I could never dance.
Do you dance at
No.
weddings or parties? No.
Nope. I don't dance. Nope.
You
No,
won't
I'm afraid,
dance?
I'm,
You won't
afraid,
ask.
You chair dance?
I'm afraid I'll break something.
Right? Like
No,
Actually, I
I
shouldn't say that.
I did all the ballet lessons and more jazz and tap than ballet, but you have to do ballet to do anything, because if you don't know that, you don't know anything.
No,
And,
the only dancing I ever did was in my teen years, because breakdancing was big, but I used to break dance.
Right.
But that's I mean, God.
Right. Well, I did dance at my
Wow.
own wedding because I had to.
And I was
Good.
almost a good dancer. I could do a jazz split, but not a full split. And my extension didn't extend. So there were things I just couldn't do. But I tried, and people don't know. If you think dancing on a stage is hard, go to lessons and
Yeah.
take 90 minutes and have someone beat you to a pulp. That was intense.
No, I'll dance
Yes.
with my grandkids.
More fun that way.
That's good. Yeah.
You know,
What
can talk
would
to
you
me.
like to leave our friends who are watching and listening with, Jennifer? What thoughts would you like to sprinkle out there before our time runs out?
Well, I truly believe that everyone on this earth has a story, and everyone has a book in them to write. There's always something that I feel that I can learn from someone else. There's always some gem or jewel that's always there, some nugget that I can always pull from or see a different perspective. And I say this in my memoir. We are all diamonds that are pulled out of the muck. A diamond does not come out of a shiny case. A diamond is rubbed down, it's cleaned, and it's shaved, and those are our challenges. And every time there's a challenge, it shines. There's something that shines until we become this beautiful, beautiful gem. And that is all of us. All of us are diamonds. We're just going through the challenges, and we're just shining brighter and brighter every day.
Speaking of
Look at
beautiful
myself.
gems, Ben,
Yeah, there she is.
Can you say hi?
Hi. You're so beautiful. I love your red.
Can you say thank you?
You're welcome.
Good girl. Did you just get home?
Yeah.
Mwah.
well, it's hard to frown around that, isn't it?
Wait a minute, baby.
Oh. See,
Yeah,
I look
it is.
at myself more like a geode. You got to crack the rock open.
Yeah, but either way, there's something good there waiting for you.
Absolutely.
Either way. Are you doing more promotion, like shows like ours in the future? Do you have stuff coming up?
I do have some podcasts coming up. Everything is listed on my website. So if anyone is interested in tuning in, all the information is right there.
For those of the people who are only listening and not looking, could you just like say what your website is so they can find it?
Yes, it's www.rockettejenn.com.
Well, boys and girls,
And
you better get over there.
Just in case, for those people watching and listening, if you didn't catch that, check the show notes. It's the first link there.
You know, Jennifer, I'll speak for all three of us, but you've made me very happy today.
Right?
Oh, thank
Right?
you. And you three have made me very happy tonight. So thank you. Thank you so much.
We appreciate that, you know. And when I saw your PR come across my email, I instantly went back and looked and opened it, and I said, that's a show I need to have. I need to book this amazing person on our show, because there's so many stories within the story.
I'm going to tell you a secret, Jennifer.
Uh-oh.
For whatever reason, the email that tells who our next guest is never arrived in my inbox. So I called Ben about an hour before our show. And I said, who's our guest? I don't know what's going on. He told me who you were. He said, here, look at this. And I looked at it and went, oh no, I've seen her work like 15 times. I know who this is. So all of this enthusiasm is honest because, now I can't wait to talk to her. So,
Keep you in the dark. Just keep him in the dark, Ben.
Honestly, I keep both of you in the dark when I book the shows for us. I was going to say my guests, but when I book the guests for our show, I'm usually a month in advance, and then Jeff.
I get the heads up because I do the images.
I send him all the imaging for 3 shows, but poor Jeffrey Mark just joined the family, so he kind of gets it after the show, and you're going to go, who's next week? What do they do? Oh, send me the stuff. And I go, okay, I send it.
But this time I didn't have to do any research because I knew who you were. And like I said, I have been a happy audience member of yours many times.
Thank you. And anyone who has not seen the Christmas show should really go. It's really a beautiful sight to see.
TV.
This isn't on TV.
Some years it is. Some years there's parts of it on TV.
It's really, really hard to get him to go into a city. I've known Jeff 38 years. And I think we've been to the city with our families twice. Actually, it was just him and I. And he freaked.
Oh.
But tell our viewers why, Jeff.
Because I was carried away by a parade in Boston and left in an alley. It was a horrific experience. I do not like cities. That's like people who are afraid of clowns. I'm not afraid of clowns, but I'm afraid of cities. I just don't like them.
What was the parade, Jeff? What parade?
It was I think it was Italian Day because I was in with my
it was probably in the North End.
It was in the North End, yeah.
So it's if you've ever seen the Running of the Bulls, that's kind of how the Italian parades are in the North End. So
and I just got carried away.
People are jammed back against the storefronts as the parade goes by, and they just thought he was a cute guy, and they grabbed him up and left him in an alley.
Yeah. So I have a phobia about cities.
Sorry.
I think I might too if that happened to me.
I spend my time in the woods. I go to the woods.
And I'm such a ham. I've just sung before the parade passes by and went along with it.
Well, I have a thing about crowds at this point. So,
well, I'm going to leave us on a joke that pertains to Jennifer. It is from 42nd Street, the show, her Broadway debut, and the character Anytime Annie is referred to that way because she's a girl who only said no once, and that was because she didn't understand the question. This isn't a Broadway show. I'm not making this up. I'm just repeating it.
I expected to have to shake my head at the other Jeff tonight.
Jennifer, is that not in the show? Seriously, come on.
It's been years, so quite possibly. I don't remember that line.
Trust me, I have seen 42nd Street almost 200 times. I thought I was
going to say 42.
No, hundreds, because I was there every night. Right. I was there 8 times a week for a long time. So yeah, it's in the show. Carol Cook on Broadway said that line, and that's why I remember it even more so. That's it, kid. That's what I got. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. Ooh. No, I'm just kidding.
So I have a final question for you, Jennifer. Yes. What's the one place in the world that you haven't been to that you really want to go to, and why?
Oh, there are several different places that I would love to travel to.
Pick one. That's all you get is one.
I only get one. I think I would go to Greece. I've never been there. I love Mediterranean food, the Mediterranean Sea, and I just think it would be so picturesque, and I think I would just really enjoy it there.
Good answer.
Have you been to Italy?
I have. I want to go back though to different places that I haven't been, but I do want to go back to Italy.
I look at Greece and Italy as kind of similar but different.
I think they're very different.
Yeah, Greece is on my list too.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. All right. Good.
Oh man. Any last questions, Mr. Jeffrey Mark?
No, seriously, I talked a lot tonight. I apologize for that, only because of my enthusiasm. I think we covered everything I wanted to know.
The show is no way.
I want to encourage everyone watching and listening to buy her book.
Oh,
There's a story there you really need to read. And if she's coming to a bookstore near you, please go there, support her, buy a book, get a doll, get a book, get something, and get an autograph.
Not if she comes to a bookstore near you.
When?
Go to your local bookstore and tell them you need to book this amazing, amazing person with her story. And if you promote it right, the line will be more than 36 deep.
Unless the manager's a cracker, in which case skip that store and go to the next place.
No.
If it's a Super Bowl, then it would be 44 because there was 88 legs.
Only an 88.
I'm just saying.
We're in 2025. Sorry. So with that,
taxi.
With that, Jennifer, when you interact with fans on social medias, where do you most prefer to be interacting with?
Usually Instagram is the best way, or Facebook, but I prefer Instagram.
Okay. And again, folks, you can find those links in the show notes. Well, maybe not the Facebook one, because I don't want to get inundated with friend requests, that we just don't know. So yeah, anyway. Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram and Blue Sky, and listen to my podcast, Jeffrey Mark Plays Ella, which does not have guests, so it's no competition to this one. And I say every week, because I mean it, God bless and have a happy.
As always, go to stilltoking.com. You'll find out everything you need to know. If you're in our local area, New England, we will be in Boxborough, Massachusetts at Northeast Comic-Con. That's March 7th, 8th, and 9th, I believe.
Yes, it is.
March 7th, 8th, and 9th, so come on out.
A lot of amazing guests.
Get our book and get our signature. We'll sign a book for you, too.
Or a comic book.
Or a
DVD.
Or a DVD. Or nothing.
We don't have dolls, though. I think we need to get dolls now.
I don't think I'd make a good doll.
You'd make a good bobblehead doll.
Just think.
Just make it anatomically correct.
What?
Oh, so
kickstand? Come on. The show's been good. No, let's not throw it off.
Yeah, let's not go into the gutter yet. As always, we want to thank our amazing guest, Jennifer, for coming out, taking time out of her life to tell her story. An amazing story it is. So again, I'm going to reiterate, in the show notes, go to the website, check it out, buy a book, go to your bookstore, go to your local cons, get Jennifer where she needs to be. I mean, it's pretty much that simple, folks, because you can see her here and you can ask questions in the chat, but in person's the way to be. But to all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do so people like us can come up here and do what we do. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. And we are out of here.
Peace.